And we are live! These are all the best opening live poses I think we've ever done.
I'm like clicking over here to put the comments on. I'm like,
I'm just trying to be like.
I just love Molly's inconspicuous, like, I'm not doing anything.
No, I just noticed my broom was in shot, so I tried to push it over and it was far too loud.
Well,
yeah,
guys,
it's like my bed is right here.
Welcome to Ring the Bell Live. My name's Joey Mayberry. I am your dad bod demigod, and every Saturday I am here with a lovely panel of people to talk what happened on Raw and Smackdown in the world of WWE this week. And we have a special panel. I want to start with Miss Molly Spartan, who is stepping in. I know we're supposed to have Candy Lee, but you know what happens down under. She followed a bluefish and ended up on P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way. So unfortunately, she cannot be here today. And we have Molly Spartan, the beautiful bruiser, instead. So thank you so much for being here.
Good evening or good afternoon, wherever you might be. And it's okay. I'm just as sweet as Candy Lee. If I like you. If I don't, I'm so bitter.
Well, we don't have anybody else bitter here, but we do have one of the sweetest people on this planet. Mr. Jake Smith is here, always smiling, always smiling.
Hey, what's up, all you stars and studs? I'm really trying to like make that my thing again. I love my Maria, so I'm bringing it back.
I love it. And then last but not least, my tag team partner is here, ladies and gentlemen. He is the fat, the femme, the Asian sensation, Mateo Valentine is in the house.
Yes, and don't forget professional wrestling's resident thirsty boy, because I am single.
I got you, girl.
Oh yeah, and don't forget. Last time I was here, I called myself Bootleg DS, so I'm going to keep that too.
I love it.
I would buy the t-shirt, but let's go ahead and start talking about ourselves, because we have to talk about the wrestling news this week that, for lack of a better term, lit the professional wrestling world on fire, because it was the return of All Red Everything, Eva Marie from Concord, California.
She's got that fire.
She's got that. And she's here to make a name for herself.
Yeah, no, it would honestly, it takes a lot to really surprise me these days. And I remember reading like around the Rumble that she was coming back. So when I actually saw the promo airing, I audibly screamed. And I was so excited. My husband was like sitting next to me, and he's like, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get the Eva Marie obsession and like the fan base and stuff. He was like, she's just like kind of talking. Like, why are we excited about this? I was like, the delivery is so much better. He's like, it is.
She said nothing though, which is great.
But I'm excited. I think I'm interested to see how she blends in with today's women. So we'll see.
I'm excited to see what she's going to do. Molly Spartan, how are you feeling after seeing All Red Everything, or All Pink Everything back on Raw?
Yeah, I think they must be going away from the All Red Everything and sticking with the Evolution. But yeah, no. The thing is, what's exciting me about it is she must be much better in the ring now, because there's only a few things in life, and especially in wrestling, that allow you to come back. You either have to be the most talented person in the room, or you need to have got a lot better. And she also must just be a delight to work with, because if you're not very good and you're not a good person, you ain't coming back. But yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm excited to see the progression personally and what could be delivered. Plus the sort of the idea of this life coach kind of gimmick in a women's division sounds interesting for me, because I think that allows the idea of maybe new faces to come in that we might not have thought about.
I didn't really read Life Coach, but when you said it, that hit me pretty hardcore, because I was like, wait, that promo makes a lot more sense now. Because before I was likening it to what Phil said in the Ring the Bell review, where it was kind of like Paris Hilton eating a cheeseburger on top of the car for Carl's Jr. Which is...
Yeah, I get that.
See, that's hot.
I got the sense. I got the sense that like she was like too good, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna give back," because like I'm such a big star now. So giving
Eva
back.
Gives Back is a segment that I need in my life. Mateo, how are you feeling after seeing Eva Marie strut her way back onto our screens at least, not into the arena yet?
We sipping tea.
Oh.
I'm curious.
I haven't heard that since my last straight boyfriend.
I know, right? I'm curious with her because it's like she already came, it's like it's like what she does great is that she incites a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And what Joey and Molly and I is that we want a reaction from the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if you're a good guy and you get cheered, or it doesn't matter if you get booed. As long as you get that attention, and as long as you have that reaction, good on you. And so I'm just curious because I'm excited for her because like I know a lot of people were just like, why? Because
we get a lot of that. I think we've already gotten that in the chat so far.
I know.
Why
And
Marie?
I'm excited because even though like she has this like so much. So it's like I'm pretty sure she has all this heat now, and so I'm curious.
100%. Did you not see it on Twitter?
Oh,
I saw it all over
I saw it
Twitter.
I saw it everywhere. I'm excited because I'm just ready to see, because I've always wanted a person who can get like Vicky Guerrero heat, as people would call it, and so I feel like Eva Marie could make her own lane and just be like Eva Marie heat.
Your statement real quick and just throw in, she's already kind of gotten that in this brand new way, because WWE, when we talk about Charlotte Flair later on, they're kind of doing the same thing with Eva, where they are getting the heat from the internet, which is an entirely different kind of heat because there's no fans there. So they're really playing into what kind of tweets and what kind of malicious things that people can say. And that's the new heat. It's like virtual heat.
I wish they would do. Sorry, guys.
They're learning from the Drag Race fandom.
Yes. Let's go alphabetical orders. Wait, Jake. I tried to say the alphabet in my head really quick.
I was just going to say, if they're doing this with the women, I wish they'd take this approach with Matt Riddle. So.
Oh, okay. So supposedly, though, rumors are sort of going about that she's actually been under contract since September. And I kind of want to say that because the number one thing that I have seen constantly tweeted was, so they sack the Iconics to get Eva Marie, and that's not the case. No matter how much you say that, it's not. That's a reaction. That is your emotions and your opinions, and that is not facts. They have not clearly lost these two to bring in Eva Marie. That's not the. I'm just sort of saying that because I want to stick up for her in that sense, because I feel like that's a lot of the heat is just how dare they to bring in her, and I was like, it's not her fault.
So I'm gonna drop some tea here, because you know what that initial reaction is from fans? We used to play general manager mode on Smackdown versus Raw 2007. And everyone thinks that in order to get Mickie James or get, Trish Stratus, you have to sacrifice Ashley Massaro, Candice Michelle, and all the other people on your roster. That's not how real business works. We're just making up things in our head at this point, and that's why everyone's mad. Like, this is real life, honey. This ain't how it works.
Like, I genuinely spoke to someone yesterday who said, I'm boycotting Raw just now. I was like, why are you boycotting Raw? And that's what their excuse was. They sack the Iconics and Mickie James, and then they bring in Eva Marie. And I was like, she's been under contract since September, but it's not just been public out there. They've had an agreement and a thing since then. And now
that's what you're boycotting, though. There's so many more things in the world, honey. There are like racist and homophobic businesses. Boycott that. Stop.
Yeah, there's a lot more that you can boycott, and it's than Eva Marie. Like, calm down. Just cry, baby. Boy, cry babies are like, oh my God, there's a girl. Shut up.
Jake, I see those thoughts bubbling down there. What are you thinking?
Do you guys think, so here's part of me is like wondering this, because like Eva's signed now and everything like that, but they haven't really clarified what she's going to be doing.
Mhm.
She's cutting these like heel promos. Part of me kind of thinks, just because I've seen a lot of photos of them training together, I can't remember his name. I think she may possibly be a manager for that guy, Parker.
Oh, Baby Bottle Brock.
Yeah, baby bottle Brock, with like the little purple highlights and stuff. So like, I was like, I'm wondering, he has like purple streaks on the side of his hair, like that. It's like it is like he's like a little baby doll though. Like when you got like the Barbie, sometimes they have like the draw in the color in the hair. It like kind of looks like that. So, so like part of me is wondering, hey, I wonder if like this big hype, because Eva's going to draw attention, is to come and be a manager for Parker to kind of get him over as a heel, if that's what they want to do. Because I think just because he looks like Brock, people might cheer for him. I don't know. People are weird. So, but
wait,
I don't know.
Hold on. I know you're not the most versed in male wrestling, Jake, but people aren't really cheering Brock Lesnar.
Well, no. But I think the straight male fans are gonna cheer for him just because he's got that look that's similar to Brock. He's from football. They don't really care where they're from. But a woman coming from something that's not wrestling, they'll hate her. So I think pairing Eva Marie with him, might be what they are possibly doing. I don't know.
Valid.
See, I think that you're on the right sort of path. Like that's why for me it was the life coach thing, because she has her fitness brand and our coach, like sort of that sort of thing. That's where I think it's sort of going down, because they'll have all this sort of backstory of why she's a good life coach, and they'll be able to show her business and what she's done since she left, etc., etc. There's a story already there to write into the actual program, and that's real, and that you can reflect on.
Yeah, well, since we're all kind of seeing what we think that she should do, and we're all kind of debating on whether or not it's manager or wrestler, I want to get the opinions of everyone. So I'll start with Mateo. Do you think she should be more on the manager route or more on the wrestler route? Where do you want to see them immediately send Eva Marie?
Again, I'm curious. I'm curious. Whether whether I think whatever she'll attain a reaction, whether it's wrestler, manager, even valet. So I would love to see her as a manager, but also if she needs to go toe to toe, then I will love to see that too.
Awesome. So we're thinking manager from Mateo. I know, Jake, you were talking about her managing Baby Bottle Brock, but do you, if you had to put one or the other, because it's not, that's the whole scenario of this question is manager, wrestler, where do you hope they drop her?
For me personally, just because I kind of love that whole Divas era for me, I want to see her in the division, and I want to see her beat Rhea for the title. But it's not going to happen, and it would be amazing, though. I would die if Eva became champion. Plus, I want to see those.
Oh, what if she became Miss Money in the Bank?
Hell yes!
Yes.
Okay. Oh my God, I want to see
that.
I just want to enrage the crappy fan base of wrestling. Like, I want the women's wrestling fans to take over. I want the like super like outspoken like diva stans to like rise in power. So I just like
I love that you glamazoned up as you did that. Just so great. So let's turn over. And Molly, do you want wrestler immediately or manager immediately from Eva?
I think she'll initially start. I don't know. Like, I want to see her wrestle, because I want her to prove folk wrong. Like, there's nothing better than folk doubting you and saying that you are the worst, and then going, am I, and showing them wrong. Plus, I have heard that Brian Kendrick is back coaching at the Performance Center, which indicates we all know who helped her a lot in the past. So I've heard that. So I'm going to guess she's going to be getting back in the ring.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I love the showmanship of it, but I'm hoping she's full-time manager. I don't want to see her back in the ring, but what I'm hoping is she does that whole thing that she was doing, go back into that gimmick of, oh, I'm going to come to the ring just for a spotlight, but then I can't wrestle until finally that's how she becomes a manager. She introduces someone to wrestle for her because she's so glitzy and glamour. So basically she can be what I think they wanted Reginald to be all along, a glitzy valet that's calling the shots.
How fab would it be to put Nia? I loved it. Nia and Eva back together like they were in NXT. I would be all about that. That was so fun for me. So I love it.
For it. But I know we've got a few super chats that have come in with some opinions on this. So let's go ahead and look at this one from Tyson Cruza. Said if only Billy was here, so Eva, Carmella, and Billy could be a diva faction. And y'all, no lie, I kind of really live for that. I think that would be really good.
I need it. Part of me is like
add in. I think add in Peyton, add in Cassie Lee.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Add in Cassie Lee, and I think this would be perfect because I feel like Billy Kay, who is now Jessica McKay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she would be the comedic. Carmella would be like the logical person.
Mm-hmm.
Eva would be the
See, you're over here thinking like logic and stuff. I was just hoping they would jump out like Sailor Moon and just be like, cross.
That would be so awesome.
Well, throw in Emelina and it's gold.
Quite literally. Well, Ryan Buchanan says best case scenario is Eva winning Money in the Bank. The outrage, so worth it. So Ryan clearly woke up and chose evil, just like Jake did.
I chose
chaos.
I wish she cashed it in that night too. Like, remember when Alexa won? And like, do you guys remember that summer of like 2018 when people were like, "Oh, I'm sick of these divas holding the titles"? Like when Alexa and Carmella were champs,
right?
So, like, I would love a similar scenario to that where she wins the title, cashes in the same night, even though we've seen it twice with the women, but all for it. If it'll get even major heat and make the internet go crazy, yes. So
I just thought of something real quick now that, okay, so WWEshop.com, I hope you're watching me, because I know a whole demographic of people that would love a shirt that just said Eva with a D in front of it. So Diva.
Ooh.
So D like hyphen EVA.
No, just a giant gold Eva and then like a very cursive white font D in front of it. Diva.
I do like D.
I also
I had to do it. You set it up.
Like my Naomi hat last week, I also want them to make an Eva one with a pink ponytail. So
I absolutely adore that idea.
100%. She's coming in on the Ferrari.
Oh,
that's her entrance. She's going to come in that Ferrari.
Do you think so? Because I live.
Yeah, like Eddie Guerrero style, like just driving down the middle, like. Plus, it's with the Thunder, like the how.
I hope she's not driving. I hope she rides down on the hood.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yes.
Okay, you made it better. Right? Okay.
With a cheeseburger from Carl's Jr.
Okay. All right. Tawny Katane, R.I.P.
I live. And on that note, let's move on to a show that feels like it's dying. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw because, y'all, that is all tea, no shade. I don't know if any of you guys have, because I do other podcasts and do other reviews, including reviewing the men's wrestling. And each Monday, because I like the men's. They're good to look at, and I'm a
window shopping.
Wrestler,
we are window shopping.
Girl, on point. But anyway, so Monday Night Raw to me has felt kind of like just an honest chore to watch. It's been a pretty bad program. Are any of you guys watching the full thing?
I've only watched the women's segments.
I am watching the full thing, but yeah, there's. In all honesty, I think the majority of this week's Raw, the women's segments were the better ones.
Oh, 100%.
Of the whole show, easily. They were at least entertaining enough to actually pay attention to.
Well,
It
it's
was-
a bad problem of doing the same exact thing for 3 hours a week, each and every week. It's a little draining.
Yeah, it's tough, and it was tough when it went from 2 hours to 3 hours as it was. I mean, you gotta feel sorry for me. Raw starts at 1 a.m. here, and if you want to watch it
my
live, you
God.
need all wrestling 1 a.m. 1 a.m.
God.
Mania finishes at 6 in the morning sometimes, and you're in the middle of the city centre and you figure out how to get home. That's
Oh my
always fun and
God.
exciting. So yeah, UK wrestling fans are committed. Like it's a difficult thing. So when it went to 3 hours, we were like, oh God, there's another hour. I'm going to be half asleep at my work. Okay, let's go.
Well, Jake, I see you kind of chomping at the bit to rip Monday Night Raw to shreds, but I saw the glimmer of respect for a 1 a.m. Raw watcher. So.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, like, if it was for like the women, yeah, I could see that. So kudos to you. My ass would be passed out watching Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley for the 800th time, though. Like, I'd be like, but like while the men's stuff is on, I usually am vacuuming, or cleaning. The dog and I play. I help my husband with some stuff, but then when the women come on, I'm like, I have to go. I just heard Naomi's like the beginning of her song. I have to go. like go upstairs. So anyway. So, but I liked how women heavy this week's episode was.
It was women heavy.
Which is nice because sometimes I feel like lately, especially, we have to wait till like the last hour almost to see any glimpse of the women. Like
I saw Carmella call that out on the Bella's podcast. She wasn't lying.
She tweeted like it's like, oh, it's funny how we're back to like 2-minute matches and all that.
And she's not lying. So before we dive into the real review, Molly, I want to ask you, do you sense this as a women's wrestler yourself? Like watching these matches, are you seeing that as well? Or are you still looking at this as like a big opportunity?
I sometimes feel, especially when it comes to like the tag stuff and stuff, I sometimes feel like they're not allowing women to have proper just one-on-one competitions. There's always some interference, or somebody runs in, or there's somebody coming down, or there's a three-way, or there's somebody shouting about this or moaning like that. And I'm just like, let them have a match. Just let them have a match. Let it be that person versus that person. Ding, ding, ding. Let's have a match. Rather than there being these awkward pause standing on the outside of, should I go and touch them or not? And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. This is not their job. Let them wrestle. That's their job. They're wrestlers. Let them do their job. So yeah, that's how I feel with a lot of it sometimes, because there's always these like for some reason there's somebody put on the outside, there's somebody doing this, there's some weird thing, and it really starts to annoy me when I'm just like, let them, because, and I've said this plenty of times, women that go and train and wrestle, the school I went to and schools around the world, the girls do exactly the same as the guys do. We do everything that any of the guys are asked to do. So why on earth are we getting treated like we don't know what we're doing? They are talented women. They are getting paid thousands to be talented wrestlers. They have busted their ends in that performance center to get to where they are. Let them do their bloody job.
Yes,
and stop just buffing them and going, here they are. Oh, look, here come the women. No, here come wrestlers. Treat them that way.
Absolutely.
100%. Well, on that note, I did, while you were speaking, look and go, there really wasn't a match or anything we're about to talk about where another woman wasn't involved, where it was just two women. And we're about to talk about two different programs. So that was some serious tea.
It's irritating because they just let the guys sometimes get a match, and that's fair enough. They're wrestlers as well. You're letting them do their job, but you just need to stop making the women's matches a bunch of drama when sometimes they can just be a match. That's okay. That's what a lot of us want to see. It's fine having drama. I'm not having a problem. It's wrestling. It's Raw. It's a big fancy soap opera and lycra. I get that, and that's why I love it. But do the drama backstage where all the guys do their drama for some reason, and then let them wrestle in the ring. That's what they're meant to do.
I love it, and I hope someone watching was just recording, screen record, because that was glorious. But let's go ahead and hop on to what we did see this week, which was Monday Night Raw. We saw Sonya Deville overstep her bounds with Adam Pearce, even though her bounds have never really been clarified.
A job description, please.
I guess so. So we don't know what she is, but she's got enough authority to just go ahead and add Charlotte Flair to the actual match at WrestleMania Backlash. We'll talk about the way that this match was set up, but basically it was Charlotte Flair versus Dana Brooke, which that match was interesting. Charlotte wouldn't break the hold. Mandy Rose came in, kneed her out of the ring, and then we just decided to do this whole promo segment where Charlotte is added to the match at WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, and never gave her a second to actually sell the running knee that she just took off Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against Charlotte, but it was just like, you're not expected to stand up and talk. And you're like, what the? No!
I just took a knee. I just took a running knee strike. Damn.
Yeah, you've just laid a giant poo in the middle of the ring on Mandy's finisher. Like, so no.
And where did Mandana even go? Like, it was like during the commercial break, they were just like, okay, well, we're gonna leave, but you're not gonna see it, and we're not gonna address that we left. We're just going.
They just Ginny Lemoned out.
They did Ginny Lemon out. But what got me was the whole entire feud that could possibly happen between Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke is so much more interesting to me than Charlotte Flair just getting put into the triple threat match. Like, I'm not interested in that triple threat match. I'm barely interested in Rhea versus Asuka at this point. Yeah. So I'm so invested in what these four women might be doing. I would rather that storyline be told.
I kind of like that idea that Sonya Deville, she showed up one day in a suit and got all this responsibility, and it's a reflection on if you dress like a man, you get more respect, and it being that reflection. So she just took the piss and went, okay, I'm just going to start dishing out what people can do and not do, and that's why she doesn't care. She's like, I showed up with a suit and everybody treated me different, so I decided, well, okay, I'm going to sort of suit and try and change things. I'd kind of like that as like a reflection on how the women are treated sometimes. But yeah, I do like the fact that she's just sort of...
Give me that storyline. Give me Sonya Deville next month being like, it was Agatha all along. I would be so okay with it.
Her and Adam eventually.
I would love to see Adam Pearce versus Sonya.
Yeah, for the control of Sonya for the control of Raw and SmackDown.
I'm kind of hoping this Sonya thing leads to something where we find out she came back just to get this authority position to punish Mandy even more. Because like we kind of had that like tease thing last week where they like bumped into each other, and she's like, "Oh, by the way, you're facing Charlotte tonight." And I'm kind of hoping this like continues in some capacity where each week like we see like a little bit more of this Mandy thing. But then like it's just like revealed like the reason she came back to get this authority position was to really like ruin Mandy's life because she's like that crazy. I kind of want to see some more of that crazy we were seeing from her like June, July of last year. It was so damn good.
So good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
She unleashed her inner Victoria.
She really did.
I feel like she's like the character she's playing now is like she's almost like it, and it just I get this vibe just because like she's got this new shirt and stuff too coming out, which is great.
Daddy.
Yeah, I need it. But she's just like she's holding it in. She's calculated. Like she's going to like snap on Mandy or something like that. I'm just hoping that's what it is leading to, and it's not just like this random like, okay, well we're giving you an authority thing because.
Can I?
What else do we do with you?
I gotta point one thing out here, just real quick to everyone. If anyone watching of like WWE Notability wants to throw out a storyline, we started this conversation to talk about Charlotte being added to that match, and we have not mentioned her. It has all been Sonya Deville. That's where your attention is. That's where you need to give a storyline, because we're all clamoring for it, and it hasn't even happened yet.
It's wow. It's like when you put in someone new that's not Charlotte, people talk about it, but when you want to put in Charlotte, it's just like silence and crickets.
Well, it's just honestly because we've seen the match. We've seen Charlotte versus Rhea. We've seen Charlotte versus Asuka. We've seen Asuka versus Rhea. We've seen Asuka versus Charlotte. We've seen this. And I think that's the kind of general consensus across the board.
I think I would have had more interest if this was like a month ago going into Mania. I think it made more sense to have Charlotte in that match because like it's her two WrestleMania opponents that were her biggest challenges. Yeah, I get that. This is just like whatever to me. I mean, like for me anyway, like right now, and I hate to say it, and I feel bad saying this because it's only been a few weeks. I'm so bored with Rhea as champion.
I know, and I love her so much.
And I really wanted to be excited.
I don't think that's her fault though.
It's not at all.
She's been slammed in a position where she's not allowed to be. She's got to be that. She's got to be nice to Asuka, even though she's going to fight her, but because she's got to be mean to Charlotte. And it's that, like, I think Mania was meant to be the three of them, but because Charlotte got COVID, I don't think she felt she was maybe prepared enough to go into it. So instead, this is where they've gone to. Because let's be honest, Charlotte Flair is a moneymaker. She does bring eyes to the product. So why on earth would you not put her on WrestleMania?
And she brings in those reactions too, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. Charlotte is
like if she was in that match and Rhea still won, they'd be the fans that are like, "Get up, you Charlotte! Rhea beat you eventually." Like that would have been the reaction.
To the point.
I think it was just a simplistically of like she wasn't ready to go back at that point. And then came back because she didn't really do much her first night either, if you know what I mean. Like it was the segment and the promo and the interactions and stuff. And she hit a few things and she ran in and threw the shoes away, but it wasn't a match. It was sort of the build up to what would end up being matches. And so far, she's not really had like a long stretch, long haul Charlotte Flair match yet. The matches she's had have been good. Even the one with Dana Brooke was.
Well, let's talk about that since that's next up on our docket. Let's go ahead and transition into that. What did you think about the Mandy Rose Dana? I mean, I keep confusing them. Dana Brooke versus Charlotte Flair.
Like it wasn't awful. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it was good. It was a decent match, but again, it was full of just interactions and shenanigans on the outside but that I think takes away from being just allowed to have a good match because you're constantly thinking about, is Mandy in the right space? Is she on the right side of the camera? There's so much extra thought on people on the outside if the role isn't just to be there, if that makes sense, if there is interaction. So there's just every women's match just has shenanigans, and I'm really getting sick of it, and it's not feeling good.
Also, WWEshop.com, if you're listening, She-Nanigans is a shirt that I would buy.
That should be a wrestler, somebody called She and Nanigans is their surname. Here comes She-Nanigans.
That's the best wrestler and or drag queen I have ever heard of.
Oh, yeah. Come to the stage. Give it up for She-Nanigans.
So to stay on the subject of Charlotte versus Dana, Jake, how did you like the match?
Well, first of all, I'm not sure how I feel about Dana's new entrance music. They changed her music when she came out. And it's kind of like a knockoff of what her theme was, which I think everyone's music is kind of progressing to that because I don't think they can use the CFO dollar music anymore or something stupid like that. Hate it. But anyway,
they bought a catalog of music, I think from Warner Brothers, and it's like 100,000 songs. I know this because I had to pick my own music off it, and it is humongous. If you're on the network, you need to pick your own music, and it's huge. You've got to go through, and you just got to.
Can you say that? Are you allowed to say that because you're under contract? I don't want to get NDA. I don't want you to get
No.
NDA.
You're allowed, like, yeah, it was public knowledge that they bought
Okay.
this
Yeah.
back catalogue of music, that it is massive. That's why everybody's music's changed, because they've ended up
Yeah.
spending millions on this humongous back catalogue of
Give
music.
her more
and
credit
then-
than that. She's not going to drop confidential information on Ring the Bell.
Listen, I'm
Thank you for
scared.
taking no back. We are
I'm
live.
I mean, it's better than the music they had given Peyton. So I'll give them that, because Peyton's was horrid. But anyway, I didn't like it as much as I liked Mandy versus Charlotte from last week. I thought that was a better match for me. But I did love that they had the little callbacks to when Dana was with Charlotte. Like, I loved, like, you're my bitch, like, and all that kind of stuff being thrown into it. I thought that was great. And I think that added a whole nother layer to address the history. Because often, especially with the women, we're told to, like, forget about that. Like, it didn't happen. That never existed. But I like that even commentary brought up, at one point, Dana was with Charlotte. Dana was Charlotte's lackey. So I'm glad that was addressed, at least. It was what it was. It wasn't my favorite match in the world, but I'm glad Dana at least had an opportunity to showcase what she's been working on.
I love that. I love that they were able to recognize that Dana Brooke used to be with Charlotte Flair, but they don't recognize that they used to do commentary with Dio Madden, who was in the ring. But Mateo, how did you like Dana Brooke versus Charlotte Flair?
It was good. It was really good. I was more enjoyed of the fact that during this whole break, like, did anybody notice Charlotte got snatched? Like, she looked more snatched.
Oh, you mean like put together, like just her look?
Like her look, like I could see, like her jawline got a little
I
bit
did
more.
notice that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how.
Now
And
that
I
you
was
say
just-
it,
I like
Because
the new hair too.
Yeah, her new hair, and I was just like, ooh, Charlotte got some gay friends who taught her how to contour, and I'm like, and so now it's like when I saw like a little bit more of like defining look from her, I felt like, okay, I can believe you now. That
almost like she
you're
had
here.
that full character change because she looks different too. I can get behind that.
Like when you see I saw those little details, it's like, oh, I fully get it. That now it's like, I think
the new Charlotte Flair 4.0 or whatever she wants to be.
But I feel like there was like an interview when Tamina said Charlotte is kind of like the Roman Reigns of the women's division. If anybody read that, and so I was just like, oh, that's true. And it was not. It's like a lot of people will say that, but I'm just like, no matter what, Charlotte, you got to go through Charlotte to. It's like when
the final boss.
Yeah,
I guess she has taken Mako Satomura's role as sad as that.
No.
Take Miko's role. Miko will come and find you.
How dare
you?
But I feel like when Charlotte loses or Charlotte taps out or something like that, it is such a big deal. So it's just like she has that clout, and so I'm curious to see how. I'm so glad that they brought back the whole, the protege thing, and how, but it also came to see it's like from that to now and see how much they've grown is it's so good. I'm so glad that Dana did all of her stuff, and we all knew what was going to happen at the end.
You saying that about Charlotte, like I said before, I feel like Charlotte Flair gets what Roman and Cena and everything, the reactions that she gets and the attitude of like, it's cool to hate Charlotte Flair. Now that seems to be the thing. Like, it was cool to hate them. It's Charlotte Flair. And I kind of see that as quite progressive, that now there's a woman on the brand that everybody's like, that's who we do and that's who we hate. That in its way is progressive, that she is that. But I do feel like with Charlotte, you could always tell when Charlotte truly respects somebody enough to give her all. Like, there is this weird thing where when she is in a long haul match and it is a grueling test, that it's because Charlotte has watched and seen how much hard work that individual has put in to give it back to her. Like, although I think yeah, she's Charlotte Flair, and she does get a hard time. I feel like sometimes from fans from across.
Sometimes she gets it all.
I'm trying to be nice, but she is someone that does give back a lot, and she does actually try and elevate people, because I think she's learned that it's. I think especially girls like with us, we understand that we need to elevate us all, and it can't just be about us, because we have people that just don't want us to be in the ring because we're women. Never mind anything else, if we're good or not. So we do have to band together and do try and elevate and give back to those coming up, and will hopefully surpass us even. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it actually develops. And I'm hoping that we will get excited again for Asuka and Rhea and Charlotte. But I just feel like it's quite. I understand what you're meaning, where it seems quite stale.
Well, it's repetitive, but we do need to move on for it just for the sake of time, because we ain't even got to SmackDown yet, y'all. We got another match to talk about. But before we get to the tag team titles, because I'm sure we're going to talk about that a lot, I want to throw in a mention of the new Alexa Bliss and Lily promo that we got, where basically she said that Lily has finally caught the eye of someone in the back. So excitement from that one. Just not spend too much time on what we think is going to happen, but who we think it is. So I want to start with Jake. Jake, who do you think Lily has her eye on?
So I don't know if it's even a woman, because I don't know if you guys saw the other segments, but Lily was in the background of a couple of segments on Raw. There's some, I didn't see this, but like some of the amazing people on Twitter did point it out and like posted pictures. I was like, oh shit. So I'm not really sure. I'm kind of hoping it's someone in the women's division. Naomi and Lana would be great picks for me. Give them some sort of feud or something to do, because obviously it's not for the tag titles right now. So I would like Naomi or Lana.
Awesome. And Mateo, who do you want to see be Lily's first target?
Nikki Cross.
Still hoping for that. I also hope they change her theme music.
I would love to see her against Nikki Cross, so to reignite that former best friend thing. But then through the power of WWE buffoonery, Nikki goes back to Crazy Nikki.
I love the term WWE buffoonery.
Is Nikki Cross Lily?
Exactly.
Ooh.
It's like
that makes sense. It's her friend.
I want to see Nikki Cross being used. Because phrasing. I want to see Nikki Cross utilized, because when she was on NXT, she was crowned like the biggest wild card of NXT, and I felt like back when she came up to Raw and SmackDown, they were just like, oh, we can't do this, so we kind of have to rein it in. So I just hope that now that we kind of have eerie Alexa Bliss, that we have Crazy Nikki Cross back.
I mean, the weird thing is you won't have seen this, but the Nikki that I know was nothing like Crazy Nikki Cross. Like
back when she was Nikki Storm.
Nikki Storm was pompous, self-righteous, like turned her nose up to everybody. She was the best in the galaxy, the white chocolate cheesecake of professional wrestling. She demanded the best always, and that's what she did. And then she came in and started running about screaming and pulling her hair out, and I was like, what on earth is Nikki doing? What happened to Nikki? Oh my god, they broke up. But yeah, like I know there's a whole other side to Nikki, because I worked with it for years. Like I filmed it and helped produce it and do things like that for years before she went over. I was part of her last match with ICW. She was carried out of the Barrowland Ballroom, which is this iconic venue in Glasgow, by security, like kicking and screaming.
I love her
like out of this venue because she lost her match and then was fired from the company.
That's
awesome.
There's this whole other side to Nikki that she is very good at, that they just don't let her show.
So are you hoping that she is indeed Lily?
Yeah, but I know how good of a range she has. And because she was able to be crazy Nikki Cross, which was so different to what she did in the Independents, it's that weird, like, well, we know she's able to go from A to Z. Maybe she's able to go darker as well because she is that talented.
Right.
I like to go A to Z, but I seem to always get caught up on D. So let's go ahead and move on to the tag team match that we got on Raw, which I'm just going to call it a tag team match because it was for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. This did not feel like a championship contest in the slightest.
It's not fair to Naomi.
It's not fair to any of the people involved, even if you want to put Reginald out there to do a tag team match in 4 minutes where, okay, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but when Naomi got in there, I guess the other girls were like, oh, we only got 3 minutes. She was like, bitch, I know what to do in 3 minutes. And she was just throwing, she was hitting those moves and going through because she knew that's what she had to do. And it read so clearly. And the moment I saw that, I was like, something's going to happen. Something's going to be weird. And then Lana got distracted by Reginald, went right into the Kirifuda. Luckily, she got to block it once, but then went right back into it for the tap out. This was some hashtag give divas a chance feel. Like this was like watching that Bella's versus Paige Emma match all over again because I felt that same kind of emotion. Jake, as a fellow diva stan from back in the day, how do you feel with it?
Honestly, I was so disappointed. I feel like I've been waiting for like a real title match for Naomi and Lana for a while. Their last one too was like even pretty short from what I remember. But I was just so disappointed. I thought they looked great together in the 6-woman tag match last week. I thought that was really nice. Naomi and Lana gelled really well there. So I was like, okay, we're going to get a more competitive match this week for the title. And what? It was so quick, and it still bothers me that Reginald is such a factor in these matches. I really hate it. I feel like we progressed like past this, that like we don't need to have this crap anymore. And I also felt like it made Lana and Naomi look kind of weak because I feel like Lana tapped pretty quick, even when she was locked into the submission at the end. Like I was like, okay, wait, they've been building up, like Lana's been training, Lana's been getting better in the ring, but I'm like, boom. She loses she just started right away, I feel like.
That owns back a little bit to the old Shayna Baszler, which was if I hook you in that move, you're going to tap out. And she's just not that Shayna anymore. We've seen that on SmackDown with Natty and Tamina. Mateo, with the match that you saw, were you feeling the same way we were about the end of that tag team title match?
What was that movie that was like disappointed? I was disappointed. I was disappointed. I was excited for this match because, you know, it was Lana and Naomi. I was just like, come on, it's Lana. It's like Naomi's one of my top 5 girls of the women's roster, and it's just like when you had that short amount of time. It's like when you have a 5-minute match and it's a title.
Oh, this wasn't even 5. This was 4 minutes and something.
Well,
it didn't even hit that.
It's like when it was for a title, it's like that short. You just clearly diminish the titles, and you guys worked your ass. It's like these women worked their asses off to have those, and it's just like whoever's in charge of creative in the back right there, it just like really should understand. It's like titles mean something, and when you shorten that time, it clearly diminishes those titles and what it means to those women and to the viewers who love to watch tag team women's wrestling.
It also diminishes SmackDown, which we'll get to in just really quick because we're gonna have 10 minutes to talk about a show. But so SmackDown, when you saw it, those titles mean something to Natty and Tamina. That storyline's going somewhere. On Raw, this is just bouncing all over the place. Molly, and it harkens back to what you were saying about there being so many factors in women's matches. How are you feeling seeing how this match was treated on Raw?
It's just disrespectful. That's simply it. It's disrespectful to the performers, but to the titles. Like how hard the entirety of the women's division have fought to even get tag champ, like to get title belts. Because for me, for years, I never understood why women couldn't just go for the tag belts, because surely the only demeaning factor you had to be was a tag team. So if you're a women's tag, why is that? Why is that? That's never like, and I've even said that to promotions that I work for, going, so why can't I? Is it because I'm a woman? And you see them being awkward. But so the fact that there is actually women's titles there, I feel like the women's titles in NXT get far more respect than the ones that are on the main ship flags.
You mean the tag team titles in NXT that just main evented NXT this week? So
exactly.
yes,
It gets far more respect. So, but also, like, why on earth would women burst their ass in NXT to come up to that? Like, you're meant to work to get to there, to be on the main flagship show, to fight for the top championships in the world. And they're getting not even 5 minutes, and it's full of shenanigans. It's full of unnecessary things. Just let them wrestle. Just let them wrestle. And I keep on saying that because it gets to a point where the reason why Shayna's not the Shayna we all loved, and I love the woman to bits. She's one of my favourites. She gives me the fear, and that's why I love her. But she's not the same Shayna that I knew in NXT than she is now, because she's having to rein it back in. She's having to think about all the shenanigans and Reginald and where is this and where is that. Let a championship match be treated like a championship match.
Exactly. Well, for the sake of time, and honestly, on the same subject, let's transition over to SmackDown, because coming from NXT and really being shortchanged is a very good way to talk about Ruby Riott, because Ruby Riott had all the opportunity in the world. The Riott Squad did, and this is a team that I don't understand why they haven't at least been in a big contendership for those titles even once. Because we saw Ruby Riott.
The big storyline about them be like, they got rid of the Iconics. Like the big thing that they got to stay together surely should have been a pathway to them getting the championship. Because then at least we would have felt like, well, them breaking up the Iconics was worth it in a weird way.
And then they've literally just went to being nothing but defeated, and they've honestly made kind of a career off of that. Even when Sarah Logan was around, the Riott Squad couldn't win a match, but now we saw her lose again to Carmella this week. And by no shade or anything to Carmella winning, because I love seeing her get a win, Ruby Riott has lost again. There's literally no momentum. They're completely stagnant and on the floor, face down, like they've been just dropped from the face of any contentionship. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott are the lowest ranked women on the roster, and it's really sad to have to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that match was the only one that was close to being an actual match.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long or things like that. Yeah. Liv was on the outside. She didn't really interfere or anything. So that I'm okay with. I get why your friend would be there to give you support rather than it being shenanigans, as I like to put it. But I think that was the closest to an actual match, which is ridiculous when there've been how many matches in total, and there's only one that seems like a fair match. Isn't fair.
It's also the closest one to being an actual SmackDown throwback because it was so short for the women. So whole show.
My God.
Yes, ma'am.
It was, I mean, I was so happy to see Carmella because Joey, as you mentioned earlier, she was on the Bella's podcast talking about how there's not a lot going on for the women and her character in general, which kind of sucks because I love how she came back. I love the new repackaging, but we're not really seeing anything with it. So it was great to see her get a win. I hate that it was at the expense of the Riott Squad, who are floundering, and I'm guessing this week she'll take on Liv and probably beat her too. But it also left me feeling very empty because I feel like at the same time, not that I want more interference or anything, but if Billy was still there, this would have been great progression for whatever that storyline could have been with Billy trying to be Carmella's buddy. But yeah, I was happy for Carmella, but I do want more for the Riott Squad.
Well, I mean, Mateo, I'll toss it off to you. Do you feel like there's any sort of momentum from this match for Carmella, or was this just the match?
I felt like it was just a match. I felt like there was like what's going to be after? What's going to be the benefit after? After what's going to happen next week? That's it.
And there's absolutely nothing, because we can go ahead and try to talk some more about Carmella's former sommelier, Reginald, and transition into this match. this man's gotten so much more screen time than her, and now he's in a match with Tamina on SmackDown. So it was Tamina versus Reginald, who's still playing off of the tag team championship match and this tag team championship possibility that seems to be coming for Natty and Tamina, which maybe they'll finally get it at WrestleMania Backlash. Who knows if that's actually
It's on SmackDown.
It's on SmackDown.
Did they really announce it for SmackDown? I missed
Yeah, well,
that.
wait. So it's confusing because they did said WrestleMania Backlash, and then like a minute later, actually, it's on SmackDown. It's like, I think Pat McAfee tried to make the safe. Wow, we get this on SmackDown.
I mean, thank God for Pat McAfee. That man is trying. He is the Eddie Kingston of commentary. Like, he's going to look like $1 million, but it's not, even if it's bad.
Yeah. I will say though, like, I'm kind of sick of the Reginald facing women's matches. I posted this before, but his moveset is literally me playing as Chyna in the original SmackDown game where I was just doing the backflip taunt every like 5 seconds because I didn't know how to play. But I'm just I'm over it. Like, I'm just like, I was like, I'd rather see the women dominate. I like that there was a little video package for Tamina and Natty, and like they showed Tamina's promo from Talking Smack. Awesome. But I just, I'm bored with it. I want them to just get those titles, and I'm hoping if they don't win on SmackDown, I'm hoping the rematch is at WrestleMania Backlash.
Please put Talking Smack promos on the program. Please put them on the program. They're so good, and it's what the show needs. But Molly, I see you over here. You're just like done with it. Girl, what you thinking?
The thing is, I don't have anything against Reginald directly because at least he's willing to get in the ring with the women. But he is a Cirque du Soleil trained acrobat, and that's where they've got him from. That's why he does all the flips and stuff. So him as a person, I have no issue with. It's obviously the creative that keep putting them within the fold. It's more the idea of what's going to happen to Shayna and Nia once the titles are taken off them. Do they go in a feud? Because I don't know how that's going to translate.
It also says a lot that that's the story we're looking forward to, is what happens post them being champion. We're already looking forward to what's going to happen once those belts are off, rather than seeing who they're going to face next, which is the opposite of what you want in wrestling.
The annoying thing is that there's plenty of people who are tag teams or they had tag teams, but they seem to just keep throwing people together. And that's sort of annoying. It feels like sometimes they forget to let people build relationships to actually be a tag team and let them have foundations. I mean, we all know they screwed up with Iconics. That's not any secret. Yeah. Like, everybody agrees that. But, like, you're talking about the Riot Squad as well. It's the fact that, like, that's an actual tag team with a background, with a moveset. That's a proper moveset. Yet you keep just let's put them and them together and let's see what happens. And I'm like, can we stop this now and actually treat everybody right? If they're going to be a tag team, let them work together, be a tag team, build a relationship, then they can go out and get it. And I get why it's Natty and Tamina. There's that sort of background and different, like, second, third generation performers put together, and they're a bit older than everybody else. But then where does it go when they have the titles? Like, who are they facing?
The Riot Squad.
Well, I hope it's the Riot Squad. I really hope it's the Riot Squad, and I hope, but at the same time, why on earth can the Riot Squad not beat the big bads? Why do they have to then give it to somebody else to then give it to them, kind of thing, if you know what I mean?
I feel they would be transitional, just like that. No lie. But for the sake of time, let's talk about the Bayley Bianca Bel-Air segment, because for my notes, I wrote Bayley Bianca segment, and that's literally what it was. It was Bayley came out, she was Bayley, Bianca came out, she was Bianca, and then really fierce plant from Bayley at the end and really gave off some aggression, but it was a lot of laughing, and that's really all I got. I mean, honestly, I am ready to see this match, but I feel like this is just carrying over from my feelings from Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, which was, it's going to be an amazing, phenomenal match. And the thing that I'm looking forward to is just the fact that I know I'm going to get to see an amazing, phenomenal match, not that I'm watching two people continue a story. And that's really my only gripe with it. Molly, how are you feeling about the upcoming Bianca Bayley match?
I feel like this should be a bigger deal than what it is. It's been given and getting treated as. This should be like, I know it's WrestleMania Backlash, but this should be a SummerSlam match or a Survivor Series style. It should be that big a deal. Like Bianca right now should be going through a bunch of people to, not like in a bad way, but she is the champ. She should be having competitive one-on-one matches on the main brand that she's the champion of, and it builds up her credibility as a champion to then face somebody like Bayley at SummerSlam. That's what it should be. That's how she. And then there's even more credibility if she beats Bayley. Then you can have somebody like Becky Lynch coming back or somebody. You know what I mean? Like you can make this a big deal. You can give her and make her a legitimate champion if you let her perform. But I feel like she's also not getting the respect to have these competitive one-on-one matches, because really I feel like this is going to be the first proper one-on-one match she's had since Mania. And let's be honest, that was like the best match on Mania this year. Why is she not getting, and she can prove herself, she's shown that she's able to go with the best. So why on earth are you not letting her like showcase that on the brand that she's meant to be representing?
100%. Mateo, how are you feeling about the Bayley Bianca build-up? That's what to say, actually.
Okay.
Oh, was that it? Just a Bayley laugh? Is that how we're going?
Yeah.
I love it. Jake, how are you feeling about this build?
I agree with you guys. Like, I think they're kind of just relying on this just being, okay, this is a match people are going to want to see. It's going to be a great match. So we don't really have to do too much here. I appreciate that they did somewhat try this week with having Bayley come out and like, talk a little trash about Bianca with like showing like, the former champions and then like drag Bianca a little bit, although a little disappointed China was not shown. But anyway, I will say that it's going to be, I think this is just going to be a match for Bianca to look strong over Bayley. And it's going to be it's a big win for her. I think she's probably going to go over Bayley. And I think it'll be something that just really like establishes her even more as a big star. So we'll see what happens.
100% looking forward to that, which is a lot more than I can say for Monday Night Raw. But we have reached our time limit for this week's Ring the Bell Live. So hold on. There's a question that I have to ask each and every week. What is that? Oh, yeah. Hey, Molly, where can people find you across the social media webs?
You can find me on as Molly Spartan pretty much on everything. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, I think Twitch. I've never done anything on Twitch, but I'm sure I have an account. And TikTok. And you can also find me on ICW Fight Club on the WWE Network and Peacock, because I got to see that catalogue of music because I'm on their programming.
Woo! I love it. Mateo, with your wacky waving inflatable arms, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on IG at Mateo Valentine 829, MateoValentine 829 on IG, and Mateo Valentine 8 on Twitter.
Awesome. And Jake, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jake Not Jacob Smith. If you see my nipples, you're in the right place. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Jake Isn't Jacob. You can also find me on the Ring the Bell channel with Golden Memories every once in a while. And then Joey will be joining me this week, beginning the relaunch of Golden Era podcast. We're going to be talking about everything from when Trish won the title back in 2001 on, going week by week, covering every segment, the good, the bad, the ugly. So it's going to be fabulous. We're really excited about that. So tune into that as well.
I'm so excited. And just to talk about that for 1 second, I've already watched all the content that we're discussing 3 times. So I'm really loving it. It's so much fun. And you can find me at Joey_Mayberry on Instagram and Twitter, Joey.Mayberry on TikTok. Check out my other podcast because I'm always in front of a camera with Tommy Purr called Tops and Bottoms. It's each and every week. And also, if you're in the Chicago area, you can check out Mateo and I at Lucha Libre's Hotel on May 16th. and CSW with a Vengeance on May 21st.
21st.
Also,
so lucky.
if you're in Las Vegas, I will be at Big Valley Wrestling on June 26th for Pride Week. So looking forward to seeing you all there. And last but not least, if you enjoyed our banter today, because I know you did, we're all lovely people, please go ahead and click subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, hit that like button and go check out our Patreon. And you can chat with so many people like me and Paloma Star and DS and Phil and Moxie Molly. She's interdimensional. She's a she-ro. And on that note, we will see you all next week on another Ring the Bell Live. Thank you all. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.